Too Fer Tuesdays with Ian
and Dan.
Two.
Nice.
All right, we're coming to you from.
Is that gross? Are we twins now?
Yeah, that was kind of gross.
Oh my god, I need a little separation. You're going to Burning Man.
Yeah,
right?
I'm going to Burning Man. That's
all right, it's
really
been like a week. It'll be a week and a half. I'll be able to
finally
regain my identity at this point.
So, anyways, we're coming to you from our secret location in Santa Cruz, California.
In the bunker.
In the bunker, the elegant bunker, by the way.
Yeah. Padded.
Padded.
Like Art Bell.
Art Bell. So this episode, we're going to talk about something that none of us know anything about. Korean pop, or K-pop as it's called. To help us discuss this, we have a couple of other middle-aged curmudgeonly men that are going to give their opinions on it too. We have our friend Paul Scott from the band Common People and Shooting Coal. And our good friend Nels Andrews from Nels Andrews. You don't have a band named Nels Andrews and
Yeah.
No, I'm just another middle-aged guy with a guitar.
Yeah. There you go. Look for that too. Yeah.
So we're gonna do our best to kind of, sort of respectfully try to investigate the world of Korean pop. But
it's gonna be a little more academic, though. We're gonna have to we're trying to maintain our comedy with something that we don't understand
or know anything about.
Yeah.
At least in our previous podcast, we tried to give the impression that maybe we understood a little bit about what we were listening to or talking about. But this one, just throw that out the window.
Engaging something different here on uncharted territories for us.
However, we did consult some experts.
That's right.
Yeah, Paul, you want to tell us about that?
So my daughter, Deliah Riavis, and her friend Hayley Kent just recently moved to Koreatown in LA. So I caught up with them just as they were moving in there. They're really excited about being there, and they've been big K-pop fans for a number of years. So we got some material from them.
Was there anything about them moving to Koreatown that was motivated by their appreciation of K-pop?
It was kind of coincidence. They wanted to go to LA, and we were like weighing up how much is it going to be to live here, X, Y, Z. And as looking back myself as a music fan of my youth, I was like, oh God, imagine if you could live in the place where the culture you're really into.
Yeah.
And so it was a kind of happy coincidence.
Okay. All right. So there was like some sort of influence in that decision.
Totally.
Oh, all right.
Okay, well, we asked them to make us a playlist of their favorite K-pop songs, and since we wouldn't even know where to begin. And they did that for us. We're actually going to put a link to the YouTube playlist because I think K-pop is a art form that's best experienced visually, or at least that's what we've been told.
Definitely.
Beyond just music, it's a whole production.
It's a whole production. So we're gonna let Delilah and Hayley intro our first song.
Okay, it's 3rd of August, and I'm having a chat with Hayley and Delilah, who just moved to LA to go to college, and they happened to move, or kind of coincidentally moved into Koreatown, and they are big fans of K-pop and have been for a number of years, and so they're going to walk us through their history of being into K-pop and what it's about. So what's K-pop and how did you get into it, and how did it start for you guys?
I got into it like in 2012 when Big Bang came out with Fantastic Baby, and that like kind of was, I think, wasn't like the most viewed video of like K-pop on YouTube.
Yeah, it was
like
the most viewed.
200 million views. And I kind of watched that with my little sisters, and then I got into it that way. And then I kind of dragged Delilah into it last summer.
Yeah, so for me it's only been a year, but I knew about Big Bang for a little bit because you showed me in middle school, but I didn't really think much of it. I just thought it was weird and kind of interesting, and they had weird hair.
Oh, yeah. That's.
All right. So
This-
what's Big Bang? So we're gonna play Big Bang, Bang Bang Bang.
Yeah.
Wow.
All right.
So, I would invite you to look at the video, but it's not going to explain a whole lot.
Well, I think it
think
explains
might be
one
more
thing.
confused.
I think
Yeah.
it explains a little bit why your teenage girls got into it. Those are some good-looking dudes, man.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just saying. I mean, I can say that, right? Like,
You do. I was trying to count. There's like 4 different genres in there.
at least.
There's trap. There's EDM. I don't know, man. That was
Well,
and then there's like the whole I mean, I was reading up on it. There's this whole like element of exploitation too that they're talking about, where you're like kind of. And I read about it. And they're like, yeah, they kind of exploit the Native American outfits, and I was like, what? Why? Where would that come in? And then sure enough, there's the dude in the headdress right there. Like
it's
everything
right
I
in
read
there.
is like right in there, and
Yeah.
like you wonder what their like choices are. Why would they produce themselves that way?
Well, I don't think they produce themselves. I think that's the thing. I think that the people, they're called idols, who are in there.
Yeah.
You buy. Apparently, it's beautifully packaged.
they actually have these. I think they call them idol shows or idol.
Right.
There's like it's like a factory. So you get put into the factory system, and then once whoever's in charge decides that you're good enough, then you get to move to what's called an idol show. And if it's kind of like what we do, like American Idol or whatever like that. But then if the crowd or whatever the audience likes you, then they push you really hard. Then they make one of these videos.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like the Backstreet Boys. There's like the bad boy, and there's the rough one, and the pretty one, and
Yeah.
they all have these kind of personas, right?
Identities.
Yeah, they're supposed to embody a certain identity
Yeah.
for each one of them.
But there's 9 of them.
Yeah.
Was there
There's
9 in that
tons.
band? I couldn't tell.
It was a whole.
There was so many extras in that video. I didn't know who
It's
was
on-
the
But when they
band
had the
and who
long
wasn't.
pyramid shots,
Yeah.
it looked like there was like
Yeah, all I really saw was the the pink-haired dude. But I think there's usually a bunch of them.
Yeah, and I've like dancers. I've like people who singers, rappers, dancers, and the girls mentioned at some point how they have these splinter groups in different sides of the group, and the whole dancey troupe does one thing, and then the singing group does another thing.
Oh man,
Yeah.
I was reading one thing, and they said
hilarious.
that there's like the token young guy.
right.
They always have a token young guy, and he's just there to be the guy that's confused and learning.
I think they're all confused.
Yeah. I mean, that's probably the nature. Oh man, yeah.
The next group is definitely more androgynous, which I thought was typical of the genre than these sort of that edgy group there.
Okay, well, let's see what the girls have to say about this.
So
Yeah, they were like the most popular group for a while.
Yeah.
And then it kind of switched to now.
Yeah, because they gained a lot of like global
Attention.
global attention, and
now it's more like
it's
EXO and
BTS now.
Yeah, more EXO and BTS. But Shiny. Shiny. I really like this song. But yeah, they're one of the more popular groups.
Yeah, older groups still out there.
By older, what age group? Or how old are they?
Well, they're older when it like comes to how long they've been around, but age range wise, they aren't old.
They aren't that old, no.
No.
Like they debuted when they were like 14 to 18 years of age.
Yeah, and that
like,
was
Taemin was 14.
Yeah, and that was in 2009,
2008.
Yeah. So they are not that old.
It's been 10 years since they debuted.
Yeah.
2008 then.
Yeah. And this is their song Replay.
그녀에게 사랑은 한순간의 느낌일 뿐 뭐라 해도 나에게 삶의 everything 그녀는 어디에가 부담스러운가 봐 날 바라보는 눈빛이 말해주잖아 And I think I'm gonna hate it girl 끝이 다가오는 걸 가슴이 말해준다 누가 뭐래도 제발 이 손을 놓지 말자던 나의 다짐은 어느 순간부터 거짓인 걸 이제 모두 알아 날 대하는 몸짓이 말하고 있잖아 I wanna hear it right 지나가오는 걸 가슴이 소리친다 이별 앞에서
I don't know what to say about that one.
I mean, at least it was one genre at that point.
Yeah, that's
some
true.
switch
It was
around.
different. That was more familiar. That was like 90s, like.
What was the year of that one, Paul?
That was 2008.
Okay.
Do you think that it was like more consistent one genre? What was the first one we saw? What year was that?
2015 or 16.
Okay, so
very
hypothesis: video games and Adderall.
Yeah.
The first
Heavily
one, yeah,
influenced.
and they're like, it's they need to have
Yeah.
chain the stimulation.
It's too slow.
Too slow. Yeah. But so this one we just watched was a shiny.
Yep.
Shiny.
Yeah, shiny. They're very shiny. That's for sure. That's just Backstreet Boys or New Kids on the Block, or really, honestly, New Kids on the Block was just the whitewashed version of the New Edition or Boys to Men or one of those,
It's that familiar sense of chauvinism through metrosexual dudes.
Love it.
that you can sell at the mall.
Yeah.
With high merchandising opportunities.
there were
Well,
definitely...
what you were saying, you were noting how many times they changed outfits.
Yeah.
That's it. Did you count?
I lost count. There was so many different. Like one guy.
They honestly, there's like probably each one of those cuts in the video was no more than like 3 seconds, and they had a different outfit on almost every one of them. So that's a lot of wardrobe work. So yeah, taking it to the whole like Backstreet Boys, New Kids on the Block. That all comes from Lou Pearlman, which Nels, I believe you know some stuff about that.
Well, just that I think that was Lou Pearlman was this guy from Florida. He actually went to jail for a pyramid scheme, Ponzi scheme. You can edit that out and make me sound better on that one.
Yeah.
But
How about a Fonzie scheme?
On the Fonzie scheme. Hey, hey! I think Lou Pearlman was this guy, and he was like, "Wow." He went to Hot Topic in the mall, and he saw all this merchandise, and he's like, "Man, I need to make something that generates that kind of merchandise." And he's like, "Pop music. That's the answer." And he went and he grabbed a bunch of Swedish songwriters and crafted up some hits. And went down to Florida and found some gullible teens and auditioned them up and created like this perfect packaged pop thing that could be consumed. And they had, using these same formulas, he had this idea that you could have all these different personalities, kind of like the Village People, right? Except a modern version of it where you had the bad boy or the, like, you know, I guess like the young one. I mean, and I think that this seems like it's a recreation of that.
But which one's the bad boy? Oh, they all look.
No, I don't think there was
They're all
any.
like clean
they
cuts.
got rid of the bad boy element.
Well, this one guy's got a gold chain on. Maybe that makes him a
I mean,
bad
we're just
boy.
not nuanced in Korean culture enough
True.
to know
That's true.
the
True,
difference.
very
Oh,
true.
that's true. One of the yeah.
Because like because I think, you know, that's the other part about this stuff is like, I think Korean pop music up until the 80s was all government stuff. It was
Yeah,
just like,
yeah, it was-
Korea. I love Korea.
It was actually forbidden in states. They were, for not being the communist part of Korea, they actually had a pretty totalitarian government.
Well, it was straight dictatorship all the way up
So
to
they were not
80s.
allowed to have anything pop music wise that was not basically that wasn't pro patriotism or nationalism or whatever.
The number one hit, I think, in the 80s was I Love Korea, which was a ballad that you would see on any highly cinematic karaoke machine in a sake bar somewhere.
Yeah.
That was the number one hit that millions of people were listening to in Korea at that time. So I think what I saw was there was this one guy who was trying to represent rap culture, and he was wearing baggy clothes. And he entered one of these competitions, the talent competitions, and he and this group is like a trio, but they were the start of the whole K-pop sensation.
Wow.
Just stuck it to the judges. That time.
It was like an American Idol, but
Korean.
basically what now they're calling the Idol shows or whatever.
Yeah.
But it was really, 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 really bland. Like it was, you know, imagine Star Search. Do you remember that show in the the 80s? I think it was like Star Search, and then all of a sudden this b-boy band came on and did this like kind of, they were wearing American hip hop clothes, and people just went insane for it. So that was the beginning. But so let's talk a little bit about the factory, you know, aspect of it. Like you saying, Lou Pearlman created this model, and this Satoshi guy, I think his name's Satoshi, but it doesn't matter. I could be wrong. But I think he just decided he's going to just copy this system completely. You know, even down to using Swedish songwriters. I believe that a lot of the songs, a lot of the hit songs, are written by Swedish people. Nell, didn't you say that they were getting plastic surgery, so they looked more Korean? Some of the
bone surgery and stuff like that. I don't know what the reason was for the plastic surgery, but yeah, that was part of the deal. Apparently, yeah, the guy. What's the guy's name? What's the band's name?
Shiny.
No. The first guy.
The first one.
Okay, let's do a real Google search.
Friends.
To make sure.
What I read about it was that they will actually shave their jaw so that they have a V as a jawline. The roundness, there's an element of racism to it, and the more Chinese that you look, the roundness of your jaw is actually a negative factor, so that they will shave your jaw down to make it pointier in a V shape.
Which looks more Korean.
maybe is it more Korean to have
just
these?
more
Yeah.
like more androgynous, I think.
Well, there's a
possibly.
whole fantasy element to it. Like the whole image aspect of this is,
Look at the
is
guy
to
on the
become
screen right now. Like, he's
yeah.
a very
They're supposed to be anime. They're supposed to be beyond
Yes.
life. They're not like
Yes.
a real thing.
okay. I got the real information here. It's Seotaji and Boys. So Satoshi is the guy that invented Bitcoin. Seotaji and Boys is the first idol band from South Korea that kind of started the K-pop phenomenon.
And then one of the guys from that band, when they turned it into these franchises, these houses of the idols, there's 3 major ones when the government was, I think, funding them somehow.
Yep.
And one of the guy from that band ended up being one of the CEOs of one of those companies. I guess.
I believe he still is. Yeah, I think he's still running. I think they say there's 2 big houses, or maybe 3 big houses.
I think there's
in three that are producing this stuff. And there was actually a lot of controversy about them making these kids enter into 20-year-long contracts, without ever promising that they would ever get a release.
That
ever.
didn't start until they actually were famous.
I was saying, I read also that in the original idol groups, they weren't making any money. The money was all in not licensing, but in ads, right? So
Right.
they're doing ads for toaster ovens and stuff like that, and all the money was in these opportunities, and they had to pitch it on the TV show, which is one of the reasons they said that Korean pop took so long to spread out of Korea, is because when they're just every night on TV pitching these products and stuff like that, and that's their money making thing. And for when they go on tour, it creates this huge revenue loss for the
Right, because they don't want them
impetus
out.
to do it.
Yeah, I'm curious. So when do your daughters get into this? Like at what age, and what's the is it common? Are there lots of teenage kids now?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's getting across the US.
Not
Yeah,
just
yeah.
American, all around the world. There are K-pop fans on every continent. And I think what happened in that time period was YouTube. So now,
Right, it's made for YouTube. It's perfect for YouTube.
yeah. So they could get famous without going on
Yeah.
tour. So it didn't matter anymore.
Highly
And they could
produced
still home
videos.
and pitch their products or do whatever they're
Yeah.
doing now. But now they've become the product.
Yeah.
All right, so let's listen to a little bit more what the ladies have to say about this.
One of the singers passed away recently last December,
Yeah.
and there's been a whole bunch of contributions or dedications to him.
Dedications.
Like-
Like the whole company had
Like-
a memorial thing that was, I think,
Set up
just
for him.
recently taken down now.
Yeah. He was 27. His name was Jonghyun.
Yeah.
So yeah, they've
It's a hard industry to be a
and
part
they
of.
just recently had a whole bunch of comebacks without him, which I was surprised that they were doing.
Yeah.
But I
They
kind
had
of
what,
like that
four mini
Four mini
albums in a row come out without him for the first time.
So a couple of things. I say, what's the format of a mini album? That's me speaking anyway. Sarah needs to stop. What's the format of a mini album? How many's on it? And then a bit about the.
It's like 3 to 5 songs.
Yeah, 3 to 5 songs on
Yeah.
the album. And they released a music video for each of them, which
Yeah.
is really cool.
And sometimes, so most of their, in K-pop, they release albums, most of the time, at the very least, one a year. And they sometimes have more, and that usually, if they have a second one, it's usually a mini album.
Yeah.
Or a repackage of an album
Repackage, but
with
it's
added songs.
with new added songs. So
Yeah.
they always are releasing stuff, and it's really cool because we never run out of music.
Yeah.
Because what I've noticed with more Western artists, people from America or so on, they only release an album every 2 years or a year.
Yeah, or longer, depending on the process.
Yeah. So
It's just interesting to.
never have to listen to the same song 4 times.
Yeah.
And I've also noticed in the marketing, the packaging that the guys that you have.
Oh yeah, the albums.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of the extra bits and like a lot of nice colors and photographs of the band and stuff. You could.
Yeah, the albums
Yeah,
are
the-
amazing.
The albums are another huge part of this whole thing. Is they're very like people
Intricate.
buy physical albums because there's so much involved with them. It's not just a CD, it's a photo book, and like sometimes they come with stickers and
Stickers and
posters and
photo cards and
yeah, like with
all this stuff.
members' faces on it and pop out things and
But it's really cool because here it's like $20 for an album that just has like
it's just a CD.
it's just a CD. But
And,
then
like,
with
the
these,
sleeve.
there's so many things that come in it,
Yeah.
and I love it. But also a lot of like Korean fans are able to buy like about 30 or more albums, and then it puts in a chance for them to meet the idols, so they have
Yeah.
like more of a chance to meet them rather than just meet and greet tickets that are $1,000.
Yeah.
Even though they
it's
still
like,
have meet and greets at concerts.
it's like a ranking system somewhat, because like they do like it's like if this person bought the most albums, so they got this slot for like
Yeah.
meeting them at this point, and then they do. It's kind of a crazy.
Yeah, like with
So they have a loyalty point system.
yeah, practically.
Yeah, basically.
You accrue points for a particular band or artist.
Yeah.
Yeah, with the amount of albums or goods that you buy.
Yeah, and since we're international fans, it's more difficult.
Hard.
But we get little like concerts like Monster X is just
Yeah.
having theirs, and we're going to it,
we're
and
going to
you
it.
have to buy like Pier 1.
Yeah, it's like there's different parts, and
But
they
it-
each have different levels of meeting them,
Yeah.
basically.
I know for the Monster X one they have the high touch, which is Pier 1, but we didn't get that one.
No.
But
We just got concert
we
tickets,
just got
which is
concert
fine.
tickets.
Which is
Should we just play this
Yeah.
one? Yeah. So this is Monster X, the one that we're seeing in concert tonight.
내가 이러는 거 이걸 사실은 즐기는 거지 나 보란 듯이 더 헛길 붙들여 하하번에 나라서 특별히 그런 줄 알았지 혼자 착각할 뻔했네 고민하는 듯한 내 머리만 빙빙 대체 왜 그러는 건데 우리 아무 사이 아닌데 뭐지 자꾸 거슬려 왜 I'm a little jealousy 내가 아닌 다른 사람 빤히 쳐다보는 눈빛 jealousy 내가 아닌 다른 사람 얘기도 그만해줘 stop it jealousy baby jealousy and baby who the X I'm a X 너 때문에 지금 난 불난도 개비 난 적통 아직 톤하니까 널 향해 keep going Oh shit I got it 일곱 주 마지막 차례 Think these guys are better than me 자 말해봐 너가 느끼는 게 대체 뭔지 그냥 날 믿고 따라와서 I want me 지금 몇 시여도 얘기를 하니 사람 질투나게 I'm jealous 내가 아닌 다른 사람 빤히 쳐다보는 눈빛 jealousy 내가 아닌 다른 사람 얘기도
Can you explain what they won?
Yeah. So they were going to see this concert with this band, Monster X, and it was just like the week they moved in. So
In LA. This is down in
down in LA, and they're like, "Hey, want to move in this week?" I was like, "What?" Well, it was the start of the month. I was like, "Why do you want to move in this?" So they already had tickets to see this band, and so the 2 nights in living there, they're going to see this band, and they got tickets, and so that's like nowadays with big artists, you get this VIP experience, like a meet and greet and stuff. They have this thing called high touch, so they decided to make the meet and greet a lot more efficient, which is basically like the band stands on stage and a bunch of teenage or whatever fans run along and do a high five. You get a high five the band.
How many fives did they do?
How many people got the VIP tickets?
Each one is like $100 or whatever.
Paching,
Yeah.
paching,
It's like it's totally like it's like Mario Brothers. Right?
Yeah.
Like, everyone's getting the coins.
Do they have them run or do they walk? Like, do they walk?
I think you can walk. The
You
girls,
walk.
they were saying that when I spoke to Delilah after the show, she said that some of the bands, being in bands, can you be bothered meeting your fans afterwards? Sometimes you're tired. And one of them was sitting on the edge of the stage, and he was really down to chatting with the fans or being silly or hanging out. And then some of them probably just stand there with their hands up. So the girls got really lucky, and they had regular tickets, and they chatted to someone on the line. So of course, there's a culture of hanging out with people in the line and swapping social media.
Right.
And they looked out, and these girls had VIP passes, went in, got an extra set of VIP passes. So they got like this free high touch experience, basically.
Sweet.
Yeah.
And so, was this during the concert or was this afterwards?
It's after the concert.
So there wasn't anyone in the audience to like watch them do a line.
I
series
believe
of
so.
high fives.
Yeah.
How many high fives do you estimate they did?
God, I don't know how many people got the
Do
VIP.
you think there was an upper
Could be
limit
like
to the number of tickets?
No,
they
it's
could
just
sell?
money. Yeah, no, I wouldn't say so. It's just like the whole audience wanted to purchase and be upsold to this extra level.
I'm telling you, you're onto something here, Nels. You need to start charging people to sleep on their couch, man.
Yeah.
Put it in the CD release. Yeah.
The whole Nels experience.
And then I'll stay there for 2 weeks after.
Yeah.
It's called the "Do you have any more coffee" package?
And if they have a sauna, then they can pay even a little bit more, right?
Yeah.
I did. I had a buddy who was like his uncle went to. He grew up with Bruce Springsteen. So we got to go when he was up here at the Oracle Arena. We got to have the backstage Bruce Springsteen experience,
all right.
which is like you're 500 feet. I was in a room with a deli plate that Bruce Springsteen was in at one point. That's the closest I got. But I had the backstage pass. I was like ready to like slap hands with the boss, and really I was getting the sando.
You touched the boss's meat.
He ate all his own meat. He left the garnish. That's all. The pubic garnish.
That's a lot of high fives. Yeah. I saw that one of the bands, actually one of the big K-pop bands, because they do acronyms, so they're like all the names are really the names are translate to all different cultures. And one of the popular ones in the 90s was called HOT, HOT, which translated to high five of teenagers.
What they're doing
Makes sense.
I think that was actually Seotaji and Boys too. This guy that
I would have
turned
done
into hot.
hordes of touch.
Hordes of touch. Wow.
But can you imagine the whole thing? When you're telling me about this story, I was literally thinking about, because you're going to Burning Man soon.
Yeah,
I
I
was
am.
thinking about the dust.
I'm gonna
on
go
my
to the
hands.
K-pop camp.
Like, I can't imagine the amount of germs passed on your hands. Like the hundreds of small teenage hands that were just like indiscriminately grabbing things before they touched yours. Like I would have at least a bathtub full of sanitizer.
One thing is that these guys are trained,
Yeah.
so I think that makes it different. It makes them different from like NSYNC or Backstreet Boys. Is that these guys are actually trained for up to 7 years to be in a K-pop group.
A lot of them don't start out as dancers and become
Dancers from the
'cause
training.
they have to. It's a part of the whole performance aspect of this whole thing. It's basically all performance and theatrics based. A lot of it.
But Justin Bieber was in the Mickey Mouse Club, and you get Britney Spears was and stuff like that. But this what I've heard
There
is
was
different.
actually
This that you get these, there's like the companies, and then there's these. What was interesting to me is there's different in a band. You've got a band, but there's like the dancers, and then the singers and the rappers.
Yeah.
So there's different aspects of each band.
People have their strong points and I don't know how to explain that.
Some of them like some of them they start out as like, oh, they audition as like a rapper, but then they're moved towards singing because their company is like, oh, you would be really good as a singer. And then some of them like audition as a rapper and then they remain a rapper. Like I know J-Hope from BTS auditioned as a dancer and they kept him as a dancer because he's just that good.
Yeah.
So how many members of BTS are there? How many members of BTS are there again?
BTS only has seven, and I say only because
like NCT has 18 and growing.
Yeah.
They have. There's rumored to be 3 more being added to NCT.
Yeah.
So what do they do?
We don't know what positions there.
We don't know.
Current band members.
NCT. They're separated into 3 subunits.
Yeah.
So there's NCT Dream, which has about 2 rappers, right?
It ranges.
They
change.
There's it's an ever evolving and moving group because NCT Dream is all the younger members. NCT U can be any of the members, and then NCT 127 is a set unit, so the members don't change.
Yeah.
But NCT right now is NCT 20 to 18.
Which is the members they have now.
All together.
All of them.
One of our posters.
You can see
all of them.
All 18 of them. And that is just for this year.
That's just for now.
NCT, their whole concept is that they're an ever-changing and ever-growing group, and that they want to expand globally and have a China unit, a like Thai unit, Japanese, because they have those members already. Because people come from like all different Asian countries to Korea and join these companies, and it's really interesting that NCT wants to have those specific groups for those members and that whole thing.
I wonder if there's going to be like an NCT America because Johnny comes from like Chicago.
Yeah.
And then Mark is from Canada.
But same difference. So this is NCT 127, which is the fixed unit based in Seoul basically. And this is Cherry Bomb.
Bullet, peer, right? Cherry bomb, bullet, yum, bullet, peer, right? Cherry bomb, bullet, yum, bullet, peer, right? Cherry bomb, bullet, yum, bullet, peer, right? Cherry bomb, bullet, yum. I'm the biggest hit, I'm the biggest hit on the stage. I'm the biggest hit, I'm the biggest hit on the stage. I'm the biggest hit, I'm the biggest hit on the stage. I'm the biggest hit, I'm the biggest hit on the stage. 시간이 되지 반드시 아마 돈만 땡땡 귀신 나쁜 박을 거려 다들 눈 못해 모두 따라와 yo hands up in the air we back get away 이제 막 터질 거야 everywhere 나를 삼켜봐 그리고 내 어깨 storming 꽤 오래 저러지 저리가 언제 터질지 몰라 popping your head like king's mansion no fireman gun fireworks cherries in the sky high I'm the biggest hit I'm the biggest hit on the stage I'm the biggest hit I'm the biggest hit on the stage if you're happy and you know it clap your hands up in the speed if you're happy and you know it clap your hands it's a speed bullet peer right cherry bomb bullet yum bullet peer right 모두 다 shit 터지기 직전의 thrill It tastes like a cherry bomb 쉽게 보다가는 큰일 나 이미 넌 빠져들어가 괜찮아 지금 폭발 직전의 기분 주변에
This is good. There's some good rapping. I've been impressed with some of the rapping.
It's good
Yeah.
rapping, honestly. Yeah.
Some of them are like hard rappers, and
Yeah.
they're good.
Can you imagine
some
what
moves.
that's like just sitting in the room and having the coach just be like, again. And he'd like
Yeah.
rap the same thing over and over again. Again. I'm hungry. Again.
No,
Rap it again.
no food till perfect. That's why they're all so skinny.
Well, that's what they supposedly would go on like an hour-long hike or longer. I think it was like 6-mile hike.
Yeah.
They'd come back and they'd feed them lettuce.
Keep them thin. Actually, on one of the TV shows that I watched with Delilah, they're doing these funny little things, and one of them they could win on the TV show if they got something right. This in a fun way, their favorite meal.
Yeah.
And they were like picking their favorite meal or his meal or that meal, and they were getting a gorge on this like Korean barbecue food. And I didn't even think about it at the time, but maybe they denied food regularly.
But
Yeah, look, they're just dangling cherries in front of these guys.
I know, right? they're literally dangling food in front of these guys. Being, come on, dance harder.
Dance for your cherries.
Yeah.
I did a house concert one time in middle of the country somewhere like Tennessee, and the woman who's hosting, her brother was in one of these boy bands and moved to New York, and that was the same thing. Like they did musical rehearsal on the day, but the first thing they did was they get up and they put on those sauna suits and run up and down flights of stairs.
God.
Just gotta get the pecs
I kind of think about how
to get the checks.
just north of Seoul,
That you can't
there's a whole bunch of youth training just as hard, but for another purpose. You know?
Yeah.
They're like running around with guns, and like down in Seoul, they're like running around in, I don't know what kind of clothes that was, but yeah,
Various.
Whoa, and then look at that. Yeah, that's kind of weird too. I wonder how much of this gets to North Korea, and I wonder what they think of it up there. I'm sure they'd probably try to ban it.
It's supposedly
Seal the
they
airwaves.
they had 1 or 2 concerts up there with the K-pop artists.
Really?
And even Kim Jong-il like expressed his appreciation, and he was emotive about it.
Kim Jong-il or Kim Jong-un?
I don't know.
The new one or the old
One of, probably the new one. I
The new one,
imagine.
I would think,
Yeah.
Yeah.
He expressed emotion about it, supposedly.
Do you know which emotion?
Did he?
No, but
an emotion.
he said that it moved him.
Was he drawing a line across his throat?
Maybe his finger was just itching on the trigger, or maybe he.
So one of the other really big groups is EXO, and
Yeah.
they
Performed at the Olympics, actually.
they performed at the just these last Olympics. Like they were chosen to perform for like as the one of the nation's representatives, which is kind of a big deal.
Which is really cool.
Uh,
They've been around for a while, and some of the members, like the Chinese members, left.
yeah, because the
Issues.
their conditions with the company and those complications that can come up. And
But we won't really go much into that because I don't know much about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, they still are making music, and I think that's really cool. I've been waiting for their next album, which I don't know
Yeah.
when it's going to come out.
they're kind of doing individual stuff right now, but I
Yeah.
think and hope they're working on something. It's been a little bit. But this is like one of their bigger songs.
Yeah, and one of their older ones
Their
too.
older ones.
But I like it a lot.
I do too.
It's one of my favorites.
It is what it is. Like, I don't know how to explain it because it's just such a song.
It was made when like some of the Chinese members were still apart.
Yeah,
So it's
it's
pretty
in their
old.
earlier days.
Yeah.
That this is growl.
Yeah. Okay. 나 혹시 몰라 경고하는데 잘 들어. 지금 위험해. So dangerous. 자꾸 나를 자극하지 마. 나도 날 몰라. 숨이 자꾸 멎는다. 네가 날 향해 걸어온다. 나를 보며 웃는다. 너도 내 입에 끌리는지. 눈앞이 다 캄캄해. 네가 뚫어져라 쳐다볼 때. 빛깔이 가까워진 숨소리. 날 미치게 만드는 너인 걸. 아무도 널 못 보게. 품에 감추고 싶어. 우리 내 시선들에 하에 일어나. 거센 소용도 없니. 그림자 내 안에 깨어나. 널 보는 눈에 불꽃이 든다. 그녀 곁에서 모두 다 물러나. 이젠 조금씩 사나워진다. 나 으르렁 으르렁 으르렁대. 나 으르렁 으르렁 으르렁대. 나 으르렁 으르렁 으르렁대. 너 물러서지 않으면 늦춰도 몰라. 날 있어 눈빛과 매일 듯한 긴장감. 지금 탐색 중이야. 노래 주위를 baby. 넌 그냥 그대로 있어. 나만을 바라보면서 절대 널 보내지 않아.
Really interesting the way that they compose the bands of members of different nationalities. They almost always have a section of the song that's in Chinese or maybe sometimes in Thai, or and they actually will cut different videos for that feature the Chinese member or the Thai member or whatever for those countries, because obviously they're trying to play to their audience.
We'll also have certain phrases that are in English, and they're
Yep.
just supposedly incredibly random.
It seems to be they're just throwing like there's one earlier with like the you be my MVP.
Yeah.
It's like,
Then we kind of saw the subtitles beneath, and it seemed like very much more aggressive.
it sounds all nice, but the lyrics are.
And then, yeah, but I also like, it makes me think about the whole aspect of there's supposedly like a component of racism to it, where like there's a kind of derogatory look towards the Chinese. So that's interesting to me that they would
Really?
have a
In
point.
the videos, they're like trying to be derogatory to the Chinese?
Well,
No, saying the distinguishing physical features between Chinese and Korean for
Yeah.
identity.
and there was
I could not tell which one which one was the Chinese one in that one, to be honest.
well, that's you.
yeah.
I'm very well versed in that. But I think there's other things too, where there was one artist who he grew up in the whole system, and he started in that slavery contract per like BBC's wording, and he was one of the few people that came out and talked about how he wasn't getting his royalties, he wasn't getting paid, he was going through labor abuse or blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And so he tried to establish through his fame through one of the I forget which band it was, but he decided to do his own solo project in China.
Wow.
And then he lost the lawsuit in Korea. And he's been completely ostracized since. And I wonder how much of that is China or him just trying to break from the whole narrative.
Alright, so what other Korean, so from like in K-pop music, you guys are culture, but like you're into like tons of different Korean aspects of Korean life
I'm
because of
really
that.
interested in the language. Like, I'm learning it right now, but I'm still learning about the culture, so that's why I'm kind of wary about it. But I know they have like a really big like culture when it comes to like age, and you respect those who are older than you, and speaking in formalities and all that stuff.
It's just so like
It's so different than
yeah.
ours, and that's why I'm so interested in it.
Yeah,
and I want to like remain respectful to it, so that's why I'm like really wary about speaking about it.
Yeah.
So
were you guys on about Korean culture and about hugging and not hugging, or was that a different conversation?
That's a different
conversation.
That's a different conversation.
Okay. So what about
that's more about like the fans of K-pop and how some of them can be really crazy.
Yeah.
Not all of them, just some of them can be kind of.
But that's the Beatles, like from pop idol bands like the Beatles, the teenage bands.
Fans can be kind of crazy when it comes to like
his dad's
boy bands.
His dad's friend went to see the Beatles in Newcastle, I think it was then, and he said the whole front row just smelled of wee because all the girls were just so excited they'd wet themselves.
Oh my god!
And it just stank, and it was just loud, and you can't hear the music. You just smell wee and
so
screaming
bad.
women.
I don't think it's that bad.
No, it's more like fans will stalk.
Yeah.
It's more.
They
That
have
happened
things
more.
called
Yeah, song saying fans are like the ones that take it. Like there's a line and they go over it.
They've broken into hotel rooms.
They've broken into hotel rooms and houses, and they've like tried to get into car accidents with idols, but that more so happened like in very early K-pop. Now it's more like calm-ish, and it's more just them taking.
It's more over the internet.
Yeah, it's
now.
more over the internet now.
Yeah, it's more like there's
death threats too, like when they have like relationships.
Yeah, when they get relationships.
Try to lash out at the girl idols that they're like if they're dating a girl idol, they like, try to lash out at the ones. But also just girl idols in general are kind of less respected. Yeah. Sadly.
So there's you guys are into the male fronted K-pop.
Yeah,
there's a whole world.
Musically
we're more into the boy groups.
Yeah, but there's like a few girl groups that I really like a lot. Like all of them are like really talented. It's more just like the music style.
Yeah, like we're both really into Blackpink and Red Velvet.
Yeah,
and
they have pretty different sound. Like Blackpink, this is like their newest song. Do do do. They're just very like. I don't know. I don't know.
Blackpink. The reason why people like them so much is because they're like, oh, they sound more like the boy groups and aren't as girly, but like the girl groups can still sound girly and be cool.
Yeah, like Red Velvet can get pretty girly, but I really like their music.
그렇지 못한 태도 간녀린 몸에 쏙 가려진 볼륨은 두 배로 거침없이 찍힌 굳이 보진 않진 않지 블랙하면 핑크 우린 예쁘장한 savage 원하던 대놓고 뺐지 너무래도 칼로 무배기 두 손엔 가득한 fact 궁금하면 never fact check 눈 높인 꼭대기 물 만난 물고기 좀 톡해 난 toxic 유혹해 I'm foxy 두 번 생각해 흔한 남들처럼 착한 척이 못하니까 착각하지 마 쉽게 웃어주는 건 날 위한 거야 아직은 잘 모르겠지 그저 원하면 test me 넌 불보듯이 뻔해 만만한 걸 원했다면 always till I do what I hit you with that 뚜루뚜루
What I saw was that they are way more subject to controversy and like people looking at them negatively. So if they do one thing wrong, then the whole audience will be against it. Yeah, female acts.
So because they sound familiar in Western culture.
They're really like, on a razor's edge of between hypersexuality and
Yeah.
Right.
and being wholesome and a
Yeah.
good girl, right? Like
Yeah.
this is super exploitive.
Yeah.
To be honest.
Well, I think it was as bad as I thought it would be because I thought they're more feminine than the androgynous males,
Right.
but they're not like wearing super booty
Yeah,
shorts.
they're not like what we do. They're not
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
Christina Aguilera and
Yeah.
Britney Spears are basically just wearing hooker clothes.
Yeah.
They're like dolls. They're little porcelain
Yeah.
dolls.
Yeah.
But they have to be sexual and they have to be perfect and yeah, it's definitely a dichotomy.
Well, I listened to this thing on Radio Lab where they there was a new female act and I forget what they were called, but they didn't bow far enough to show respect to their elders.
Oh.
And they had this whole scheme during a concert, and I guess during a huge K-pop concert, they have many bands go out, and for every band, there's a certain glow stick with a color, in which you're there to represent the band that you're in favor for.
Yeah.
And so there's a committee for each one of they're like each one of the bands gets a certain amount of members to kind of like represent that band through a committee. And when this band was, for whatever reason, for not bowing enough, these group of girls, and they were new, when the concert started with them, it was called a blackout, in which all the lights were turned off.
Yeah.
No one was reacting.
No wonder.
And the reason it was able to happen is because every section has a leader, and the leader's like, don't do anything right now. And so
They forced the vote.
yeah, and they're saying that was,
Do you know which group this was?
I'd have to look it up, but it was, let me see if I can find it. But like in some of the other occasions too, where they found that the two of the K-pop artists were dating, generally the female is going to be a lot more harassed.
Right,
and
because she's
losing.
supposed to be innocent.
Yeah.
She's there, that's what I'm saying. It's this
Yeah, it's girls'
Cultural thing.
girls' generation. That's what I thought.
girl generation, yeah.
I've heard
Girls'
about that.
Yeah.
So they're supposed to be sexual, but they're also supposed to be innocent. Here's an interesting little nugget to throw into this discourse. There is a new band called EXP Edition, which is all Caucasian, all American white band from New York, calling themselves K-pop.
No way.
Yeah, and it's bringing up a whole big.
Wait, can you throw that on our screen so we could see this real quick?
I have to.
Oh, you need to
I gotta
look
go
it
to
up
this
real quick?
computer. Yeah, this
All I
thing's-
see right now is doctors around traffic cones.
You guys, I'm having this vision while we're sitting here that somewhere in Seoul are a small clutch of Korean men sitting around
talking
what-
about folk music.
talking about the Dan 2 video.
What's going on?
What is the
What
symbol?
the
What's
concept?
going on here, man?
This is exploitation.
They're really horrible dancers. Who dresses those guys?
How many outfits were they in?
Yeah.
They wore the same. They wore the same outfit in every shot.
And if you look, it's the same outfit in every video.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, so this is the K-pop.
This is the
Whoa.
Meet EXP Edition, an all-American
God.
band from New York who describes themselves as a fresh hybrid of K-pop. And apparently, it is not going over well with the K-pop community.
I can't imagine. So
Yeah.
it's someone
Selling it.
replicating a genre that was created in the U.S., then brought to Korea,
Right.
then re-replicated
And now people are
back in
calling
the U.S.
cultural appropriation. They're like saying,
Yeah.
this is cultural appropriation. You can't do this. And it's like, no, this is not cultural
It never
appropriation.
started there,
I
any-
mean,
It's like a cultural
repatriate.
It's just
like reclaiming. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Sure, I'm
Look
not
at the haircuts.
I'm not a real big believer in the whole cultural appropriation argument, but whatever. Well, I don't know, unless you guys have anything else you want to say about K-pop. I think I'm all K-popped out. It's a fascinating culture, and I hope that our insight is helpful to you guys out there. But check it out for yourself. There's a link to the playlist, and just for the hell of it, we're gonna put some links up to nelsandrews.com, and we have Shooting Coal and Common People. Does Common People have a website?
No, I just went Facebook.
It's Facebook. Just you can find us on Facebook.
It's derivative as the K-pop. It's a Britpop cover band.
Yeah.
Is there kind
Stuff that we love.
do you have also a 7 year to get to? You have to apprentice for 7 years. before you get up
You
there?
got to stay drunk and high on cocaine for 7 years.
Yeah. The opposite. You have to round your face out.
Molly and acid. If you like what you hear, please hit subscribe so you can keep up with Dan and I's future exploits. We'd like to say thanks to Hayley and Delilah for giving us their insight, and we wish them luck down in Los Angeles and hope that all their K-pop dreams come true. You can find us on the web at dan2band.com, at Facebook at dan2band.com, and Instagram dan2band. And all right, that's it for Too Fer Tuesdays.